Good morning, everyone, and warmly welcome to this third edition of our recruitment marketing webinar series. And today we're doing this in English since we have a very exciting guest from London. So before I introduce Alex, I just wanted to briefly introduce Invice and myself to new participants in this webinar series. This is the third episode where we dig into recruitment marketing. The first we focused on employer branding. Last session was on inbound recruiting, and today we're going to speak in the wider perspective and an international perspective on recruitment marketing. To go back to Invice, we are one of Sweden's largest digital marketing and sales agencies, with experts within copy, design, marketing automation, web development, and not least inbound marketing and sales, and where we have our core. And we are, since February, also doing the same thing as we help our customers enhance their experience through the customer journey. We are now doing the same with the candidate journey through recruitment marketing. And we are also diamond partners to HubSpot, who is a really exciting tool that I'm hoping to speak more about maybe during the fall, and how you can use HubSpot or any marketing automation tool to work with the candidate journey as well. And shortly on me, my name is Annika Bagge, and I work here at Invice as a recruitment marketing manager, and is driving that new business area here. Before that, I was a few years on Wise Group, working as a marketing manager. I think most of you know Wise Group is one of the largest HR group in their Nordic region. So with that, I really found my passion being in marketing enthusiast in an HR context. It's really exciting everything that's happening within HR tech, and how talent acquisition and HR is really getting a more valuable place in every company. So with that, I'm today very excited to present today's guest, Alex James Ian from Wiser. I get a lot of questions. It's really fun. I worked at Wise, I've moved to Invice, and now I have Wiser as guests. And that is only a fun coincidence. I'm drawn to Wiser in some way.
Yeah.
And Alex, before I just let you introduce yourself, I just want to tell them that Wiser is one of Europe's leading employer branding and recruitment marketing agencies. And I myself have been really have my eyes and ears on what you have doing over the years, and I'm a really big Wiser fan. Send me the t-shirt.
It'll be in the post.
Yeah. So today, Alex is going to share more of the international perspective on recruitment marketing, and share some more insights to what methods and tools you can use, and also share some success stories from customers that you've been working with. So warmly welcome, Alex, and thank you for taking a time. It's 8 in the UK, and I know you have small kids and haven't slept much, but we're really excited to have you here. So would you please tell us a little bit more about yourself and what drives you?
Of course, yeah. Thanks very much. What a welcome that was. I wish I could have you every meeting I go into, Annika.
I can be your sidekick.
Yeah. And welcome everybody. So we're going to try and keep this as interactive as possible. So any questions you've got throughout, please pop them in the chat, and we can talk through them in more detail. So yeah, a little bit about me. So I've been in marketing now for the last 10 years across different areas. I actually dropped out of my graduate scheme to join four friends who had a business in social media at a time when my parents, nobody else around me understood social media. And we built that agency to be one of the biggest social media agencies across Europe. Had a great experience in understanding how you build communities. So at the end of that, we had around 380 million followers, and we would get around 2.2 to 2.5 billion video views every single month. So we really fundamentally understood what connects to other human beings, how you create content that can make them do things or inspire them to take an action, and to build that community where people feel part of something. And at the very same time that we were building Social Chain, one of my really good friends, Finn, he was building Wiser at the same time. And like Annika said, I was very inspired by some of the work that they've been doing over the years. And instead of focusing my efforts on how you can impact or influence someone to buy products, I was much more interested in how you could get somebody into the right role and the fundamental impact that'll have on their life, their career, their at-home life, the business, the wider society, if more people were doing work that they really enjoyed doing and that they were passionate about. And that was kind of why I joined, to try and help further that journey. And the mission that we're on now is to change the way people think about work. So whether that's the way certain demographics think about certain careers, certain brands, what work entails. We don't want it just to be like the 9 to 5 and then you clock off like a lot of people. Hump day Wednesdays in the UK, thank God it's Friday. It's just we want people to be much more inspired than that when it takes up such a big part of your life. And like Annika said, we focus on several areas, but mainly how we can brand and create a really strong brand that attracts the right people to work for that organization. But more importantly, it repels people that aren't right, so that they get the people that are culturally right, they have the right characteristics, from the demographics, whether it's tech, commercial, sales, marketing, wherever it may be. We help them find those people and then build a campaign or marketing campaign that will attract them into the organization. So yeah, I'm looking forward to today. I'm sure we have many exciting questions. We work across the UK, US, APAC with several of our clients we've done stuff with Nike in Europe, Knight Frank, we work with them globally, big property company. Fraser's Groups, they own flannels, Jack Wills, sofa.com, Evan Cycles, so across a variety of industries, but all focused on employer branding, recruitment marketing, and creative ultimately. And
you are, like me, a marketing executive in your core, and you have your position within talent and HR, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, my experience and my background, like I mentioned, is in mainly online marketing. So everything from digital, social, copywriting, like storytelling online is, I would say, my experience. And just trying to apply that to talent acquisition or talent attraction has been interesting, because it's not as developed as the commercial marketing world was in terms of metrics that you track, technology that we use, how you tell an effective story, how you understand how you capture those stories from right people in the organization.
Yeah. Still, I think you have in the UK come a little bit further than we have here in Sweden. So that's what I'm hoping you can give some inspiration to today. So what would you say? How would you define recruitment marketing?
I would say it's the practice of, actually, I would say two things. Number one would be how, if I was a company, and this is what I always say to clients and people that we work with, is how could you build authority plus community with the demographic that you really need in your organization? So it's all well and good having the performance marketing piece, which is heavily something that we do in terms of looking at the right platforms, job boards, and putting the spend in the most effective way, in the most targeted way, with the right story. So whether it's a video, an image, or an asset, to try and influence that person to take a job, or at least visit your career site. That's super important. And I would say that's probably a solid 30% of what it is. I would say the most important thing moving forward is going to be how you can effectively build communities. So development communities, marketing communities for the talent that you want to bring into the organization. And really you do that by giving them value. So it could be you create webinar series on topics that would help them learn skills that they don't currently have, which is going to help them progress in their career. It could be giving them insights into the future trends or what's happening within your organization that's not in others. But it's all centered around some type of value where they think, I want to be part of that community. And as a byproduct further down the line, when they come to think about a career, they're then going to think, well, this company has given me so much. The human reciprocity, that is one of the 6 ways to influence behavior from Robert Cialdini. And if you can do that effectively by giving them enough value, then when it comes to them wanting to change roles, they're going to see you as one of the employers of choice.
Yeah. And what tools do you use to really succeed with that?
Yeah, so we've got a couple of partners which are very effective, especially in the performance marketing space. Number one being Adway.
Yeah.
So they are an AI platform, which means for us, we've used them on 3 campaigns now. And the targeting functionality and the ability to learn what's working on LinkedIn advertising we've done the campaign with trying to bring in HR professionals. We did another campaign trying to bring in senior tech professionals, and the results were significantly better when putting our ad spend through their platform, because they understand interest, locations, where people have applied previously, and all of that goes into the targeting rather than just the options that it gives you if you were to do it directly through LinkedIn.
Yeah, and just to understand correctly, because a lot of I think people in this webinar knows Adway and perhaps also using Adway. So what you do is you produce the content for Adway and using the customer, but Adway is the platform, but Wiser are doing the content part.
Exactly, yeah. So we are the creatives effectively. Yeah. And so that's why we work really well with them, because they're a technology platform and great with the actual spend. Whereas if you think about it, like if you think about the last piece of content you watched that moved you, it's like the creative that is the storytelling, which is the most powerful thing. And we've now got a team of 40 in the creative department, from strategists to comedians to videographers to animators.
Comedians.
Yeah, we've got one comedian. But you think from a copywriting perspective and bringing humor into the videos, she's phenomenal. Yeah. So we'll do everything creatively to make that work even further, because I would say now it can impact your campaigns. 75% of it is down to what that message is, and 25% is getting the targeting right. Whereas if you can really get the creative, the message, tell a story. And I always use the example of, if you think about your personas of candidates as Avengers, the film.
Yep.
Each Avenger is very different, and people will resonate with one Avenger more than the others. It's like Teenage Ninja Turtles. It's like any of the famous cartoons or superheroes. You'll have a real affinity with one over the other. Yeah. And that's exactly the same with who you want to see on the recruitment marketing. Like if you're a developer, you'll probably resonate with a certain person, certain characteristic, slightly more introverted, slightly more attention to detail than someone who's loud, like a typical salesperson who's in your face. So it's just getting that bit right, getting the characters right to resonate, and then actually telling the story, which gets across the EVP, gets across the values of the organization, gets across like what's in it for you effectively as a candidate, and like proves the what's in it for you through other people, not just saying we've got these great things, but actually it coming from a case study or a people story or a journey within the organization.
Yeah, and on that, how crucial would you say doing your candidate persona work is to the recruitment marketing process?
Yeah, really, really important, especially in the early stages. I think if you can try and get between 5 to 10 key personas, that will help with the targeting. That will also help. We actually turn them into people. So like we'll humanize them Jill or Jackie or Tim and you know, or Jermaine, and we'll put them on the wall. We'll say, this is Jermaine, he's 26 from London, he likes football and plays five-a-side in his spare time, he's been a developer and a coder all his way throughout university, he's been in 2 startups, but now he wants to progress into a bigger organization so he can learn more and have a bigger impact. Then like I feel like I know Jermaine, I feel like I know him and people like him.
Yeah.
And so then I can start thinking, right, well, what would he do on the weekend? What are the nuances that we can add into this content? Like, could we? What does he watch? Does he watch Love Island? Does he watch the Bake Off? In the UK, is really big. Could we do like a campaign with developers doing Bake Off challenge in the office? Do you know what I mean? And so then it takes you into a much easier creative place to tap into what he's going to care about, or what she's going to care about. If it's Jackie and she's from Sweden, and you know she's got a lake house and she likes reading, you know, there's a completely different creative that we would put forward for her. So yeah, I would say 5 to 10 minimum, and it's fun. Like I always think that's like the fun part.
You got a lot of friends doing that. So what would you say your typical customer, who is Wiser's typical customer, who needs help with recruitment marketing methods?
So our best clients, and the ones where we do the best work, and I would say probably the biggest as well currently, are the ones that have come from traditional backgrounds. So it could be, so Fraser's Group, for example, they were known as sportsdirect.com in the UK. They've got 30,000 employees. Like I mentioned earlier, they own lots of different brands within that organization: Flannels, Jack Wills, Sofa.com. But the Sports Direct's history was in bricks and mortar. So they've had to have a big or a fundamental change within their organization to go online, especially with the coronavirus, while still staying true to bricks and mortar and still wanting to make that in-store retail experience unbelievable. But in order to get them to the place where they want to go to, with young, ambitious, creative, future leaders, that type of organization wouldn't have been as attractive as, say, a Facebook when we did the surveys, because we've got a Wiser Academy, so we can do surveys of students to get a pulse of what they think about certain companies and brands. Whereas Facebook, TikTok, Google, Tesla, a lot of the tech brands were the ones where people wanted to go and work there because they saw them as exciting, as a brand that exudes ambition, and they were going places. And so that's where I feel we have the best impact, is like taking a traditional company and then making and changing that brand narrative and creating content and new websites, video series. We manage all of their social media profiles to grow that brand. So we start to change people's opinions of them in market. And we did a survey at the beginning on campus of around, I think it was 500, 600 students. And I think 3% of the people would have considered, not even have worked there, would have considered working there. And we did a survey before I left for paternity leave about 2 months ago. And that figure had changed within that same demographic, and it was now 72% would consider working there. So you think in that short space of time, within that very targeted demographic. How long
time was it around?
So we've been working with them for 8-9 months. 8-9 months. So, but because we've done so much, we've done a complete website refresh, a full rebrand, new narrative, like Fraser's Group, new name, new website, new brand values, new EVP. We've then created video series with people from their organization, like Callie Price. She started on the shop floor in Wales and is now on the board of the company. So we told that journey with our video team in like a 1 minute, 2 minute piece, and it was just so inspiring. And you've got all of their employees then going, can I get a video on my journey, and like wanting to be involved with the brand, and and not just wanting to be involved, like becoming advocates of the brand. They're like excited. They want to share this video and all the other content with their friends, family. And that's exactly what we want to do, is create companies and create cultures and strong brands where people feel proud, inspired to work there, to tell everybody that they work there.
Yeah.
Because often then they will attract other great people. Like if we know they're great people, they will know other great people within their friendship circles.
Yeah. And when you say website, is that they put a lot of effort into their career site, correct? That's
career
what
site.
I'm talking about. So it's not just one page. You really put an effort into building a really cool and welcoming career page, from what I understand.
Yeah, exactly. And if you go to Frasers.group,
yeah,
not to plug them, but they'll be very happy if they get a lot of traffic from Sweden.
Yeah.
You can see, like, if you Frasers Group career site, you can see what it looks like now is great. It's like on a level, I would say, with like Nike and Adidas in terms of like the brand feel, the aesthetics, the functionality, what you can do. And there's just so many creative things. So like for at the beginning of the year, we know it's a big time for students when they're thinking about where they want to go in the summer. And so we ran a campaign across the UK, and we called it, because their whole EVP messaging is around being fearless. So in order to achieve great things, you have to take risks and be fearless and like not be afraid to fail. And so we called the campaign Finding the Fearless. And there was we wanted to find students who had an idea, an entrepreneurial idea for their space, for retail or for one of their brands, that they would turn into a real product idea, and they would put £10,000 into making it a reality. And the winner of the competition got £5,000 too. But we had a whole landing page. We did a whole video series of the journey. We had hundreds of applications. We had to whittle it down to like the final 9. And there were some great ones in there. So the lady that won, she wanted to produce modest clothing, because of Sports Direct, they produce a lot of the clothing, sports clothing. And she felt for with her religious beliefs and what was available on the market, there was a massive gap in that for creating a whole sports range of modest clothing. Very inspiring. They all did pitches to the board. So we got the board, we did video pitches to the board. And then obviously there was final 9, which we put on our Instagram grid and got the audience to select which one had won. So 1 like equaled 1 vote. And so you had like, most of them got over 800, 900 likes, loads of comments. The winner, like, she got over 1,000 likes. So you can imagine their Instagram page, we only started it 4 or 5 months ago. Yeah. It's now got 5,000 followers, but like was getting insane engagement because there were so many people interested in this campaign that we created around finding the next, or finding the fearless, which resonates with their EVP and everything they want to stand for.
Yeah, that's so cool. I can't get enough of hearing success stories. Just before that, since in Sweden, as I mentioned, recruitment marketing isn't that widely known yet. How does the market look for recruitment marketing agencies? Is that common in the UK or in the US where you operate as well?
Yeah, there's a trend of more. I would say it's more employer brand agencies.
Yeah.
So if we look at the landscape, especially in the UK, you've got a lot of really strong employer branding companies that offer recruitment marketing as part of the offering.
Yeah.
And it's really picking up traction now. So we are speaking to CMOs, marketing teams, comms teams, whereas before it was you would only speaking to the HR director, people director, early talent director. Whereas now it's really picking up in terms of its importance, especially because of COVID, right? Because people need to focus on their people more, otherwise they're going to lose some of their best talent. So we're getting a lot more interest, and like we were talking about before, we've had a really successful start to the year, which we're very grateful for in a time like we're in now, when a lot of people are struggling. But we think it's because of that desire to double down on the people that make the organization great,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool. So how would you say in the US is this the same climate, same?
US is even more developed. I'd probably say 2 years ahead.
Yeah.
So
if the US is here, the UK is here, and Sweden is here, we have a straight line moving onwards with recruitment marketing.
Yeah, exactly. It's the trajectory is only going like this. The spend that's going into our space from when we started 7 years ago, when Finn and the guys started 7 years ago, to now, the spend's like considerably different. Now it's 6-figure, 7-figure investments, whereas 5 years ago that would just never be the case. And if you look at in the UK, there's a big campaign live at the minute with Shell, the oil company.
Yeah.
And it's on TV, it's everywhere. I've seen it everywhere. I've seen it on YouTube adverts, and it's telling the journey of like a person that's joined the business, and he's building I think it's like a sustainability or renewable energy design of the Shell garages. And he was talking about his history and how he was always inspired to be a designer or an architecture.
Yeah.
An architect. And it was just telling his story, but they've now put that as their spend, their like main marketing campaign.
Oh.
And it's the same with, we're working with Selfridges. Do you know Selfridges?
Yeah.
I don't know whether there's Selfridges in Sweden,
but I think most people know about Selfridges.
Yeah, so like a big department store in the UK, and we've done a campaign last year, a video, and then we've just released a second one now. So if you go on Selfridges LinkedIn page, and it's all around their creation of their diversity board. And so with what happened with the backdrop of last year with George Floyd and that whole movement, they realized that they were nowhere near where they wanted to be as an organization, but they had the people internally who did want to drive change. And so they created a diversity board where different people from different areas, not just the leadership, but it could be anybody who could apply to be part of that group. And we did a really emotional video series of what it means to people within that organization to be part of that and change. And then the video that we released last week or the week before was like 1 year on, because it was the anniversary of George Floyd's death. And again, they're using that now for their wider marketing, not just their recruitment marketing. Because
that's really a huge step, and I mean something that we of course believe in, that really not only driving the right candidates, but also of course it's a factor when you choose whom you're going to buy from. Are the people here happy? And I mean, so that's really something that can strengthen not only the employer brand but also the consumer brand, of course. Yeah,
definitely.
Do you have some more kind of success stories? I was so impressed with what you told me that over just a short, like 6 to 9 months, you changed the conversion from 3% to 72%, or the interest. Do you have some more kind of success stories with facts that you can share with us?
The most fun one recently, because I like fun ones.
Yeah.
Do you know Miniclip, the mobile game company? So they own like I'm going to forget all their brands, like Mini Football, 8-Ball Pool, the mobile game company. So they came to us, I think maybe like 3-4 months ago, and they wanted to attract 2D and 3D game artists. So from the design community, very, very niche. So we built a campaign, and so we did the research, the persona piece, like we mentioned, and we were talking to our design team about things that they cared about, and a lot of them were, number one, creative, like because it's in their job, so they liked doing things for fun. Essentially, in their spare time, they do a lot of creative things just because it was they would enjoy doing it. And number two, they didn't like things being wrong, so like the wrong positioning or the wrong color or the wrong font, or in a design it needed to be right. So we took that insight from doing the research, and then we applied it to the campaign, and we came up with an idea called Fault This, in which we created graphics from some of their games, and we posted it on the internet across Twitter, and we opened it up to designers, 3D and 2D designers, to to put a fault in the game, a fun fault in the game. And so that was like the infrastructure of the campaign. But then we knew, right, well, so in order for this to reach the right people, we need to tap into the design communities that it would resonate with the most. So a good friend in the UK, he runs a community called 1 Minute Briefs. And it's like 40,000 creatives, designers within that community. And he'll write a brief that will take you 1 minute to read. And then you have the day to submit your your idea. And so we put it on there, and it just went crazy. We had like hundreds of thousands of impressions. We had like hundreds of like new designs. It's not people just liking the campaign, people taking the assets from Miniclip from the landing page, and then like changing it into like funny ones related to the Euros, related to COVID, related to Boris Johnson on this like football design. So if you go on Miniclip's Twitter page, you'll see all of the designs. And then we use that. So there was loads of groundswell about Miniclip. People like within the design community, like, what's that? Who are Miniclip? Some people might not have heard of them. And then we did the retargeting campaign from everybody that participated, everybody that liked or engaged or commented. We then used that audience to build lookalike audiences, and then send them a direct response ad saying, Miniclip are hiring the next generation of designers. Their trajectory is going like this. Do you want to be involved, like, to get them inspired? And they've had the most applications I think they've ever had for these two roles as a byproduct.
Exciting and so creative. So
yeah,
here.
I wish I could show you some of the examples.
Yeah, but I thought we can share some links when
we're
sending out the thank you note afterwards. So that's fine. So I thought maybe we should open up if there is any in the audience who have some questions for Alex or me. See. Yeah.
Is that?
You see that you get a lot of good vibes that what you're doing at Wiser is impressive and that you know what you're doing. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much. What would you say when you look at the UK compared to Sweden, is there anything that you think, God, they're doing that differently than what we are doing here in the recruitment marketing space? Or is there anything you think, I wonder how they do that?
Yeah, I would say that I think, as we mentioned before, that we're a bit behind on how much spend companies are dared to put into employer branding and recruitment marketing. The campaigns you're mentioning sounds so great, but I think recruitment marketing is still in Sweden in the smaller part where you don't have the muscles to be as creative. But that is really why I'm doing this, because I think we need to get there, and I'm hoping that we will get there. And what you're telling us is really giving examples of that it's worth it. So that I would say. Is there any of you participants who have something to share, some opinion to share on how recruitment marketing is in Sweden, or how we work?
Do you hear me, Annika? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Fredrik Sachi. I'm from Smash.
Great.
We are AI chatbot company, so we are in the same kind of space. Nice. It's very interesting. So one of the things I'm wondering is, from your perspective, so Nordics is always like been a digital frontiers when it comes to everything from adoption, right? We are really like in the front when it comes to digital solutions. So, but it feels like we are very far behind when it comes to recruitment marketing. So it'd be very interesting to get your point of view on that one. Yeah. Why do you think it's so different in HR when it comes to adapting to digital and social media versus UK and US?
Very interesting question. I would say this year more than ever, people have had to focus on their people. So that's why I think the spend has increased significantly. But in terms of the difference in international spend, even in the UK, I would say it's not as big a focus as it should be. So it might look from the outside like we've got everything going on and there's loads of recruitment marketing spend, but even to get those budgets signed off is very, very difficult in comparison to how much easier it was to get traditional marketing budgets signed off when I used to work in that world. When I think about how to do it, I always go back to like the framework that we've built. And the first phase is always the dig phase, where we look at exactly what are the problems that are arising within the organization. So it could be you've got an aging workforce, it could be you have a high turnover rate, but it's just we try and dig for the facts or the metrics that are potentially problem areas now. So once we've got those, then we go into the emotional phase, because people tend to buy an emotion and then justify with logic. So then we will talk about the impact in, say, 5 years' time if you don't invest in an early talent program, and all of your competitors are investing in an early talent program. You're going to continue going at this rate, and they're going to continue going at this rate. And so the problems and the headache that it will give to you as the board, as the C-suite, will look like this. And there's been moments in history where this has occurred, where people have been left behind, and this is very much one of those moments. If you don't invest in the right people for your organization, especially the right young talent for your organization, you're going to have a real significant issue in the next 10 years. And then the logic phase, we try and make it a no-brainer. So we'll say, if you're spending X on recruitment agencies, or your turnover is X, so that's going to equal this much money each year in terms of recruitment costs, in terms of new laptops, and just that whole process, that's going to equal this figure, say 500 grand. So for 400 grand, we're going to make sure that this and this doesn't happen. Your retention drops by this much. You're going to attract this type of people within the organization without having to use agencies, because your brand's going to be more attractive. And also everyone's has an interest in status, like a little bit, even if you don't at all, there's like a little bit of, like, as humans, that your driver is that, well, what's everyone else doing in our space, in related to business, and like life and sports and everything. Everyone like compares to a certain extent. And so then if we can say, from a status perspective, we're going to make you the employer of choice within the industry, or we're going to get you this much news coverage, or everybody's going to be talking about your marketing campaign. That again is like something that, if it's the HR director, they can take to the CEO, or they can take to someone above. So we do those three phases: dig, emotion, logic. And then usually, in terms of the budget sign up, we can get much bigger budgets, because it makes logical sense, and it taps into fears that they have potentially about the future of their organization.
Great. Thank you, Fredrik.
Great question.
Thank you so much for the question. Did you get the answer you wanted?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Is that your surname, Friedrich Sachi? Like the famous creative agency?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Are you related?
Perhaps.
Yeah. That would be on.
He's not done the digging phase there.
Yeah, that would be on every one of my job applications if I had Sachi's surname.
Yeah.
Do we have any more questions in the chat, or unmuting yourself and daring to ask Alex a question before we round up this session?
And even,
yeah, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, even if there are any questions afterwards, or any case studies that anyone wanted more information on, please drop me a note. Alex James Aon on LinkedIn, Alex Aon on Twitter, alex@wearewiser.com. I'm sure we'll send around the details afterwards, but yes, more than happy to help out or answer any questions.
Yeah. And thank you so much for taking the time. To sum up, I would say my three key takeaways would be the importance of doing your research and candidate persona work. Be creative with your storytelling, use emotions, both like humor and spinning on your emotions, of course. And there is a bright future. It's small steps, but together we can make more space and budgets for recruitment marketing, because what you've told us today really is that it has an impact and it will work. So thank you so much for sharing, and thank you so much everyone who attended today and asked questions and doing a yay in the chat, really valuable. And for now, this was the last webinar on recruitment marketing for the summer, and we'll see if we catch up again after the summer holidays. So if you have any topics or so you want us to lift, just send me a note, and have a great day and summer, everyone. And thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.